The Red Sox have finished their first series of the 2023 season, and the biggest takeaway by far is that this Red Sox offense could be really, really good. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corey. The Boston Red Sox have won their first series of opening day in the last couple of years. It'd become a bit of a pattern for the Red Sox to start losing on opening day, especially series-wise. It's been a little bit since they've won their opening day series. Well, that changed in 2023 because just yesterday, the Red Sox beat the Baltimore Orioles to take that series 2-1. And it was mostly due in large part, if not entirely, to this Red Sox offense that looks like it's poised for a pretty awesome 2023 season. But there were also negatives that came with this series as well, most of it relating to the pitching side of the ball. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to break down the good and the bad that came out of this 2023 opening day series, and we're going to talk about how the Red Sox can either fix or continue with different things to make themselves successful throughout the 2023 Red Sox season. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys hit the like button as well on this video. Helps out a ton and would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Just a heads up, we have already broken down opening day and everything that we could take away from that game. So if you want to talk opening day specifically, there is a video on my channel. This is mainly a focus of the entire series. And we're going to start with the positives. And if you're going to talk about the positives, it's obviously this Red Sox offense. And if you're going to talk about the Red Sox offense, you have to start with Adam Duvall, because right now this guy is not human. At the plate, he is currently 8 for 14. He already has 8 RBIs on the year, 2 home runs, a double, a triple. He quite literally does not look like a human being at the plate right now. He looks like he is an absolute hitting robot. It is absolutely insane to watch him at the plate right now. Will it continue over the course of a 162 game season? Probably not, but this is a great start for the Red Sox and Adam Duvall. But it's not just Adam Duvall who's having a fantastic start to the year. Rafael Devers has 7 hits in 15 at-bats, which is a 467 average. He also has 1 RBI, so not a ton of offensive production in terms of driving runners in for Rafael Devers, but he's getting on base a ton, and we are seeing just some fantastic swings from Devers early on in the 2023 season. You've got Kiké, who's off to a hot start as well. He has 2 home runs to open up the season, and I really think him participating in the WBC got him off to a hotter start than he normally would be. It's either that or it's the purple hair dye. One of the two is getting Kiké off to a hot start, and I'm all in on whatever one it is. Yoshida is also a little bit on fire. He had a little bit of a rocky start in the middle game of this series, but yesterday he went 2 for 4, scoring 3 runs. He has driven in 3 RBIs to start the year as well. He also has only struck out once in these 3 games that we've played so far, and to me, that's the biggest upside with Yoshida right now. This is a dude who is consistently putting the ball in play, and you're starting to see why that matters so much. The error in the second game, right? The bloop hit in the first game, the bloop hit in the third game, right? If you are putting the ball in play, good things will happen, and that's the epitome of Yoshida right now. Absolutely fantastic, and everything we wanted to see from Masataka coming into the 2023 season. Alex Verdugo is also red hot out of the gate. He is 5 for 14, which is a 357 average. He has a home run in this series, a triple in this series. He has 4 RBIs on the year. This is a guy that the Red Sox really needed to see take a step forward, and it looks like so far he may be taking steps in that direction. Obviously, super small sample size, so I'm not going to say and proclaim that this could be a big year for Verdugo until we see more out of him. And finally, Justin Turner is also hitting 500 on the year as well. So all in all, the Red Sox offense was absolutely fantastic. In fact, it was a bit of a record-setting offensive first series of the year, because for only the 3rd time in Major League history, the Red Sox scored 9+ runs in 3 games to open up the year. The last times that was done, according to Alex Spear, was in 1976 with the Cincinnati Reds and 1978 with the Milwaukee Brewers. And we've already talked about kind of how this Red Sox offense could be successful throughout the course of a 162 game season, right? It's that station to station baseball. They aren't just smashing baseballs all over the place. They're playing small ball when they need to, and when they are smashing baseballs, it's with runners on base. Guys are getting on base, and they are basically saying, hey, look, next man up type strategy, and so far it's working out really, really great. And one of the things I really love about this Red Sox offense is that this probably isn't going to be the case for the entire year, right? They're not going to score 9+ runs every single game. Guys are going to slump. Guys are going to go in and out of slumps. But this Red Sox lineup is deep. It has the potential to be really, really deep. So unlike last year where we kind of relied on 2, 3, and 4, if the Red Sox are slumping in, say, 5 or 6, right, in the 5th and 6th spots in a lineup, the rest of the lineup should be able to carry them until those guys get back. And to me, that should be absolutely huge. Basically, all positives for this Red Sox offense so far. But let's take a look at the negatives as well and see what can be adjusted there to make this Red Sox team more successful going through this 162 game season. And if you guessed the negatives in this video would be about pitching, you would be 100% correct. Again, we already covered Corey Kluber's start on opening day, but we'll add that into this negative pile because that definitely wasn't great, but Chris Sale wasn't much better. Chris Sale finished his first start back in a Red Sox uniform since 2022 when he hurt his finger in New York with a 3-inning outing where he gave up 7 runs on 7 hits. He did only walk 2 and struck out 6. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say that this was a good start or that we should be okay with Chris Sale giving up 7 runs because he only walked 2 batters, but at the same time too, I'm also not ready to throw the white flag in with Chris Sale, right? It's his first start of the year. It was his first start back in Fenway since 2021. There was a lot of nerves involved, and plus the Orioles kind of have his number. This is definitely something to keep an eye on though. We need Chris Sale in this rotation to be at least really good, right? We don't need him to be great. We don't need him to be Cy Young candidate level Chris Sale, but we do need him to be good for this team to be successful. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on going forward. But again, I'm not raising any red flags just yet. I want to see how he settles in, give him a couple more turns to this rotation before we start breaking down, hey, what the heck is going on with Chris Sale? Tanner Houck finished this series off, and he was by far and away the best starting pitcher in this series. He ended up going 5 innings. He only allowed 3 runs on 5 hits. And what I most like about this outing from Tanner Houck is that he only gave up 1 walk, right? In spring training, he had a real problem with control. He was hitting batters left and right. He was walking a ton of guys, and that was leading to a lot of run production. This outing was a completely different story. He only walked 1 batter. He struck out a bunch, right? He wasn't letting a ton of guys on base, but the problem of getting through that third time through a lineup without any runs is still a problem for Tanner Houck. But at the same time too, this again was by far and away the best outing from a starting pitcher, and it was definitely a decent outing overall. It kept this team in this game, and that was a pretty solid start by all means. This did give me a little bit more confident with Tanner Houck in this rotation, at least until guys start getting healthy and getting back. I still think he'd be more useful in the bullpen, but this does give me a little bit of hope that he's going to be okay in the rotation until they feel it's necessary to put him back in the bullpen. And speaking of the bullpen, really outside of Ryan Brazier and Caleb Ort, they weren't that bad in this series. Outside of those two, only Zach Kelly and Richard Blyer gave up runs in the last 2 games of this series. And even Caleb Ort himself had a pretty solid 9th inning in the finale of this 3-game series. So overall, I don't think the bullpen's going to be as big of a problem as we mentioned, but man, the 2 thorns in the side of this bullpen right now, Ryan Brazier and Caleb Ort, could be a really big weight on this Red Sox pitching staff shoulder going forward, at least again, until this team is fully healthy. And if this team is fully healthy, I pray that Ryan Brazier is on that DFA list. We kind of know Caleb Ort is probably going to be on that DFA list, but Ryan Brazier better be there, man, because I am so sick and tired of hearing about his FIP or hearing about his unluckiness, right? 2 surprises to me from this Red Sox bullpen, though, in this series that I did want to highlight was, 1, Kenley Jansen came in and threw 96 in the 2nd game of this series, and 96 for Kenley Jansen is huge. Last year, he averaged between 93 and 94. We're seeing about a 3-mile-an-hour tick up in his velo come opening series. If he can maintain that velo, he could be absolutely fantastic for this Red Sox bullpen. Even if he is at 93, 94, he's still effective, but 96 would be huge if he can continue that throughout the year. And one more guy I wanted to point out in the bullpen was John Schreiber, right? John Schreiber had a terrible spring training. He, like Tanner Houck, was sort of all over the place in terms of control. He was letting up a ton of hard contact, but so far this year, he's looked really, really good. He got himself into a bit of a sticky situation in the 2nd game, but was able to pull himself out of it. And I think it's absolutely fantastic that he completely flipped the switch come regular season. He kind of looks like his old self again. I really like the role they have Schreiber in so far early this year, and I really like that he was able to flip that script early on this season. Again, super small sample size, so take that all with a grain of salt, but they are really good things to see immediately with this Red Sox bullpen. I think overall pitching wise, I'm not ready to raise any alarms yet, right? Because there's still 159 games left to play. We are very early on in the 2023 season, but I can see the cause for concern. This Red Sox team isn't going to score 9 runs a game, and this Red Sox pitching staff, specifically this rotation, needs to be able to limit damage and keep this Red Sox team in games even when they're not scoring 9 runs. But like I said, there's still a ton of games left to play, and if this continues to be a pattern, we will talk about it for sure. But for now, I want to see guys settle in. I want to see the full rotation healthy and what that looks like, and I think there's still time for them to make adjustments and figure out what they need to do to improve that pitching staff, specifically in the starting category for this Red Sox team. But that definitely needs to change if the Red Sox want to be competitive this year. And overall, throughout the entire series, like I said, the biggest takeaway by far and away is how good this Red Sox offense was. They're putting together good ABs, and you can see exactly how a lineup that puts together a ton of good ABs really makes it difficult for opposing pitchers. Guys are seeing a ton more pitches. Guys are getting more mistakes, right? They're pushing starters out of the game much earlier and getting to bullpens, wearing them down a little bit, right? And that's exactly what this Red Sox team needed to do. And if they could continue that throughout the entirety of the 2023 season, at the very least, this team is going to be a ton of fun to watch. But I want you guys to let me know in the comment section down below, what was your biggest takeaway from the opening series for this Boston Red Sox team? Was it good? Was it bad? What is your overall viewpoint right now of this Red Sox team in an extremely small sample size? Let me know all your thoughts about opening weekend down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys hit that subscribe and like button. If you made it to the end here, you might as well do it. Plus, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.